What if everything you thought you knew about your senses was wrong? You might believe you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell the world, but the truth is far more complex. For centuries, we've been taught that humans have only 5 senses, but science now tells us that our perception extends far beyond that classic list. There's a whole hidden world of sensory experiences operating quietly beneath our awareness, shaping how we move, feel, and even understand reality itself. Now let's start by challenging that long-standing notion of 5 senses. Vision, hearing, taste, touch, and smell are indeed the most obvious, but your brain is processing much more. You already have other senses that you use every single day, even if you've never thought about them. Take proprioception, for example, the remarkable sense that tells you where your body is in space. Close your eyes right now and lift your hand. You know exactly where it is without looking, right? That's proprioception at work, a sense that gives you body awareness, balance, and coordination. Then there's interoception, a subtle yet powerful internal sense that tells you what's happening inside your body. It's how you know when you're hungry, thirsty, or anxious. It helps regulate your emotions and keeps your internal systems balanced. This means that much of what we call intuition, that gut feeling, or the sense that something isn't quite right, might actually be your brain reading your body's internal signals. And these are just the senses we've named. Scientists now suggest humans may have as many as 30 or more distinct senses, depending on how you define them. For instance, we have a sense of temperature, pressure, pain, and even the passage of time. Each of these is processed through complex neural pathways that keep you constantly informed about your inner and outer world, often without your conscious awareness. But let's go deeper. What about the senses that seem almost mystical, the ones that blur the boundary between body and mind? Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt uneasy, even though everything looked normal? Or sensed someone's presence behind you before you turn around? Some researchers suggest these experiences could be the brain's way of integrating subtle sensory cues, tiny shifts in air pressure, minute sounds, or even electromagnetic changes into a perception that feels like intuition. That there's growing interest in a phenomenon called synesthesia, a condition where the boundaries between senses blur. For some people, sounds have colors, numbers have personalities, and words have distinct tastes. While this might sound like science fiction, it's a real neurological condition that reveals how flexible and interconnected our sensory systems truly are. Imagine tasting the color blue or hearing a piano note that appears as a flash of gold. Synesthesia isn't a superpower, it's a reminder that perception is deeply personal and shaped by the way our brains wire reality together. But you don't have to be a synesthete to expand your perception. With practice, awareness, and mindfulness, you can begin to tune into these subtler layers of experience. Try this. Close your eyes for a few seconds and focus on what you can feel right now. Not just the texture of what you're touching, but your heartbeat, your breath, the warmth or coolness of the air, the way your balance shifts slightly as you breathe. This practice heightens interoception, your ability to sense your internal state, and can actually improve emotional regulation and resilience. Another exercise involves expanding proprioception. Try walking in the dark or practicing balance poses with your eyes closed. You'll start to notice that your brain compensates by sharpening other sensory inputs, sound, touch, and even subtle vibrations in the air. The more you train these lesser-known senses, the more vividly and fully you begin to experience the world. Science continues to uncover fascinating insights about how far our perception might reach. Researchers have found that humans may be able to sense the Earth's magnetic field, much like birds do. While this ability is extremely subtle, experiments show that our brains respond to changes in magnetic orientation, even if we're not consciously aware of it. Could we be walking compasses without realizing it? There's also compelling research into how our sense of time or chronoperception varies dramatically depending on emotion, attention, and body chemistry. When we're stressed, time seems to speed up. When we're calm or deeply focused, it slows down. This means time itself isn't experienced objectively, it's filtered through our brain's unique perception system. And then there's empathy, arguably one of the most remarkable human senses of all. Neuroscientists have discovered mirror neurons in the brain that activate both when we perform an action and when we watch someone else perform it. These neurons might explain why we wince when someone gets hurt or feel joy when we see someone smile. It's as if our brain lets us momentarily share another person's experience, a form of sensory empathy that connects us on a deep, subconscious level. As technology evolves, our understanding and even enhancement of these hidden senses grows too. Scientists are developing sensory augmentation devices that allow people to feel things humans normally can't. There are experimental vests that let blind individuals navigate using echolocation, implants that translate sound into electrical pulses for the deaf, and even prototypes that allow users to sense electromagnetic fields or infrared light. In a sense, we're on the verge of engineering new human senses, unlocking ways of perceiving the world that were once beyond imagination. But this raises profound ethical questions. If we begin to expand our perceptual abilities through technology, who gets access? Could it deepen inequality between those who can afford enhanced perception and those who cannot? And what happens to our definition of being human if we start adding entirely new sensory channels? These are questions scientists and ethicists are already beginning to wrestle with because the line between biology and technology is blurring faster than ever. Yet, for all our technological ambition, the most powerful way to expand your perception may still lie within you. Developing awareness, curiosity, and mindfulness can transform the way you experience even the simplest moments. The whisper of leaves, the hum of city life, the rhythm of your own heartbeat, these are all parts of a sensory symphony that most of us barely notice. By tuning in, you don't just perceive more of the world, you perceive more of yourself. The next time someone says humans only have 5 senses, remember this. You're a walking network of perception, a living instrument capable of sensing, interpreting, and shaping reality in ways that science is only beginning to understand. The world around you is richer, deeper, and far more interconnected than your 5 senses alone can reveal. And perhaps by learning to listen a little closer, not just with your eyes and ears, but with your intuition, awareness, and empathy, you'll begin to uncover dimensions of reality that have always been there, waiting for you to notice, because maybe the greatest sense of all is the ability to sense more.
If you find this video informative, please hit the like button, subscribe this channel, and feel free to share your comments.